These are the CMF Buds 2 Plus, and with most of its buds, CMF tries to position itself as the higher end of the budget TWS earbud space. I recently tested the Buds 2A, and it's a good enough bud, but it didn't really scratch that high end itch for me. Now I've got the CMF Buds 2 Plus. Let's see if it manages to be truly luxury on a dime. So let's start off with the design. Out of the box, and you can very well see the whole "I'm better than the rest" vibe. The carry case is very unique. Nothing looks like it on the market, and this scroll wheel here is a nice little party trick that many people appreciate. I've never really been a fan of it, to be honest, because what's its purpose? Is it a fidget spinner? I don't think so, because it lacks that clickety feel of a fidget spinner. But it's got holes on it on this board, unlike the CMF Buds 2A. So maybe you could attach a string and use it to hold the buds. I guess that kind of works. The buds themselves carry on with the hip design language. There's this circle element here, kind of analogous to the fidget spinner on the carry case. Here it's functional though. It's the touch sensitive area for the touch inputs, and because it's a different texture to the surrounding area, it's easy to locate and use. The two-tone finish on the buds, glossy on the earbud, and matte on the stock is standard for buds in this segment. It's very well executed on the Buds 2 Plus, giving it a premium and I dare say classy look. What you can't really take away from CMF though is the quality of the build. From the carry case with this matte finish and its solid closing mechanism to the buds that just feel tight all around, you can tell that they didn't chip out. At least they didn't chip out too much in the manufacturing of these buds. It's certainly very obvious to me that these will stand the test of time. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give the Buds 2 Plus an 8 as far as it concerns the fit. These sit in here very nicely, and I wasn't really expecting it to be so. My experience has been that when the earbud is glossy finish like it is on these buds, it tends to slip more when it's in ear compared to when the finish is matte, as you find on buds like the Melobuds N70. These did not, they fit snugly and stayed in place even for very extended periods. Here's me with them in my living room. Later on I took them to the park and you can see me walking. They stayed pretty put throughout all that episode. And despite the buds looking chunky, they don't have that slightly uncomfortable feeling of fullness I'd experienced when I was testing the Melobuds N70. Ear fatigue does set in, albeit in the slightest, when you have them on for very long periods, say maybe 4 hours. But it's not to the level that it makes them truly unusable. I feel like these are more comfortable than the Melobuds N70, N60, pretty much any QCY bud. So yeah, very, very comfortable buds. On the Buds 2 Plus, you get support for high-res LDAC audio, also SBC and AAC. There's active noise cancellation, IP55 rating for water resistance, touch controls, proximity sensing, Bluetooth 5.4, and fast pair technology. So pretty much the feature list you expect from a board trying to be what the Buds 2 Plus are trying to be. Support for high-res LDAC audio means these can stream audio at rates of up to 990 kilobits per second for even better details. Fast pair technology makes connecting to these boards very, very easy and intuitive. The first time I experienced it was on the Buds 2A and I was really impressed. On the Buds 2 Plus, it's still the same technology and it's still very impressive. Here's my phone recognizing the Buds 2 Plus just because both were close together. Once paired, I can seamlessly connect the Buds 2 Plus to other devices I use as long as they have the same Google account if you're on Android. Touch controls work fairly decently. It's sensitive and accurate enough. I didn't get that many false touches, and with the circular design element that works as a center point for the touch panel, you're not going to be tapping all over when you want to skip to the next song. Now, these are IP55 rated for dust and water resistance. Most boards at this price point will have some sort of IP rating, so this is not really a differentiating factor, but it's cool to be included. IP55 means these will handle all the sweat from your most intense workouts or light rain showers or a dip in a cup of water. Here's me hosing them down with my makeshift water resistance tester. Held up well, worked flawlessly after I dried them up. On paper, the Buds 2 Plus are capable of handling background noise up to the 50 dB range. Again, that's to be expected from a board like the Buds 2 Plus. The Melobus N70, for instance, claims noise suppression in the 56 dB range. In practice, these were good enough to suppress background noise in my living room and outdoors in the park. Here's me in my living room with the TV playing out audio at about 60%. Couldn't hear anything with the Buds 2 Plus on. When it goes up to say 80%, some of the audio does begin to sneak in though. To sum it up, ANC is great, it works as intended, and even though this is rated for noise suppression up to 50 dB, I couldn't really pick out any difference in noise cancelling performance compared to buds with slightly higher suppression threshold, like the N70 for instance. Sound quality. On first impression, these appear to have a more balanced soundstage than the Buds 2A, which are sort of bars upstage. So you get mids, trebles, and everything in between, plus bars in just the right proportion. Bass is punchy, although it didn't come off to me with as much detail as I'd experienced on a board like the Melobus N70. This is especially apparent when I cranked up the volume. At mid to low volumes, less so. Mids were great, you get to experience a whole range of instrumentals with super clear details and preciseness. Trebles, great too. Both male and female vocals sounded super interesting with preserved details, whatever the volume level on these. Where I would say the Buds 2 Plus sort of comes short in my opinion is on the clarity front. Although the soundstage is very balanced, components are not 100% separate from each other, especially when you crank up the volume. With that, it's hard to get the exact breadth, depth, and detail of the listening experience, especially if you're listening to songs with a high mix of everything. Here's me listening to Label by Paris Paloma, and there's this hook midway in the song where you get a symphony of the artist's vocals, tons of mids, and a backing vocals overlay. On the Buds 2 Plus, it's hard to catch that overlay or the mids in clear detail. It's there, but I know it can be better heard because I've heard better on some boards I've tested. Now, this is me being very, very nitpicky. Even boards like the QCY Melobus N70 don't render that part of the song with enough detail, and those are good sounding boards. Overall, the Buds 2 Plus sound great. If you're not getting granular with the details, you're going to enjoy listening to most of your songs on these earbuds. How's the call quality on these boards? These are great boards if all you're thinking about is making calls with them. The mics on these work very well to pick up your voice with enough clarity even in very noisy environments. Okay, so I've got the CMF Buds 2 Plus in here. You can see them. And I'm out in the park, so this is a good time to do a mic test. Mic test 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 400. There's a lot of background noise behind me, so yeah, you guys can tell me if the mic is doing a great job of like isolating my voice from the background noise. I was able to get up to 5 hours of active listening time on this, fairly standard for a board in this segment. On standby, I got up to 52 hours on its best days. Sometimes it's off before the 48-hour mark. Battery life varies depending on whether you've got stuff like ANC on or not, so not too surprised at the variance. No wireless charging here, and usually I don't mind that because it's hard to find boards in this category with wireless charging, at least good boards. However, I just recently tested the Melobus N70 and those come with wireless charging. So certainly no one charging upwards of $50 a piece gets a pass anymore. Nothing, or is it CMF? I don't know which one is the actual name. Why don't these come with wireless charging? Maybe you can reply me in the comments. So to sum it up, what's good and what's bad? What's good? Good design and build quality, great fit and comfort rating, probably better than most other boards in this category. Good battery life, great sound quality. What's bad? Pricing. The fact of the matter is you can get better for less in the current market. So, should you buy the CMF Buds 2 Plus? Great boards, no doubt, and in another world where we don't have the extensive selection of TWS boards we have now, I'll probably recommend this. But the fact of the matter, like I said, is you can get better for cheaper. The Warmer Q21 is a great place to start if you're looking at dirt cheap, bare bones boards with comparable sound quality. If you want to go fancier, QCY's recent N70 has a better feature list. It comes with Bluetooth 6.0, 52 dB noise cancellation, wireless charging, and sounds slightly better than this in my opinion. And I think it's still cheaper than this. Not sure why I've never been truly impressed by Norton's earbud. I'm starting to think I have some of repressed hate against them. I'm going to see my shrink this weekend, so I'll update you guys how that goes in my next video.